seeing your dashboard, as you look at homelessness, you've done a lot for your citizens in Chicago and trying to move that needle. What is going well and what is not going well in terms of tackling homelessness?
Well, let me just say that in terms of looking at that, first of all, I really want to commend and thank the Hill and Wells Fargo for highlighting this issue and giving all of us an opportunity to look at something that is as critical as what we are experiencing, especially with young people. And so when you think of homelessness, you got to think of at least 3 or 4 different things. Some individuals, just by the experience of birth, start out in a difficult position, not having the stable parenting that is needed. Then there are educational problems and difficulties that they run into. And then there's just the real problem of growing up. Some young people, for example, have difficulty at home and they can't get along at home. And so they find it to their advantage, as they would think, to find another avenue. And so we have that movement. And you can't really be as effective as we need to be unless you address all of the issues that generate the state of homelessness. You think about 1.5 million homeless people in our country in 1 year. We're not just talking about the young fellow down the street or the young lady who can't get along with her mother. We're talking about a massive number of individuals who are not experiencing just this notion and idea that at the end of every day, I've got some place that I can lay my head, that I can call home. So thank you again for addressing this.
Pleased to do it. So let's get real here for a minute. You've been working on this. I know you've got a package of tax policies that you've been trying to usher through and protect the provision of roofs over heads. But looking at it beyond that, looking at the other dimensions of what a healthy community looks like. Tell us some of the things that you've been trying to do to kind of look at a more holistic level of approaching homelessness.
In many instances, you're trying to just find a way to stabilize. For example, my district office is located in an area where there are 2 shelters for 500 individuals, but not for youth individuals, not for young teens, not for individuals who are in their early 20s, right? Individuals who, and so while those resources are there, we don't have the kind of resources that we need in terms of youth hostels or homes, group homes, where you could have 15, 20 young people living together in an environment with professional help and with individuals who can make sure that their movement and entree into finding foster parents or into finding stable place or even having the assistance that they need to be in educational programs and institutions that will prepare them as they continue to age up and age out, but hopefully age into a stable living condition where they've got a place.
One of our speakers later is Aldo Hurtado at the Latin American Youth Center here in Washington, D.C., and I know they're dealing with a lot of this as well. So I want to point that out. You've been working with Brad Wenstrup on trying to increase resources across the aisle. We've got a couple of Republican congressmen. How would you grade the literacy of your colleagues on the homeless challenge in both parties?
Well, let me tell you, many of my colleagues are very serious about what they are trying to do and what collectively we are trying to do. And so when you hear of activities like some of the programs in Cincinnati that Representative Winstrup is a champion for and of, and trying to help make use of those throughout the country, that gives you a sense of hope and a sense of possibility. We all know that changes come far more slowly than we hoped they would. But if you can just get moving, you can get started. If you can come up with an idea that you can sell to others and get them to buy into it, then every time you make a step, you get it a little bit closer to the goal. And I think that's what Brad and other people who tackle these problems, I think that's what they really bring to.
Congressman, is there awareness in Congress, and I would even say the administration, in the kind of legacy of financial institutions, the government, the lines that divided by race in some of our urban cities, and I'm doing that, and how important it is to do it. I'm asking the racial question because when you look at homelessness, and you look at what you just shared of those people being born into certain circumstances, you know, I'm just struck by the fact that many of the initiatives don't look nearly as sizable or consequential as they need to be to deal with the legacy problems.
Well, I think you're exactly correct in your analysis and in the way that you look. Some of our conditions come as a result of just the environmental differences. For example, when I hear people sometimes talk about how great we're doing in terms of employment opportunities, I'll say that's true in some places, but it's not true in other places. And in order to bridge the gap, we first of all got to make sure that the individuals in all places have opportunity to take advantage of what, for example, we have a HOG, or HOP, Health Opportunity Grant Program that will provide grant money to help train the most difficult to hire individuals to work in healthcare. Well, that will go a long way for preparing those individuals to be able to access jobs. One thing about health is that the need for it will never go away. And so you always need individuals to help do what needs to be done. So it's that kind of activity, I think, that really helps to bridge the gap and change some of the discrepancies that exist in our society.
Are there any things that the Trump administration has put forward that you find helpful on the homeless problem?
Well, I think that there are things. It becomes a matter of how do you make implementation of ideas really happen and to work most effectively, as opposed to ideas that make it more difficult. For example, I had a family come into my office the other day, and I really thought they were just going to go off, totally off, because they had had some challenges getting their money that was due them from Social Security, and they're afraid that they're going to lose their home, and that was their big. And part of the problem is that the agency is just behind in terms of processing claims and having enough people to do it. And so there are programmatic things, but in many instances, it's not enough. In many instances, it does not do what you intended for it to do, because you didn't put enough resource into it. You cannot get blood out of a turnip, and the reality is no matter how you cut it, slice it, dice it, you're still going to end up with turnip juice. And so you got to put enough resource in to get the results that you're looking for.
You know, we're going to bring another member of Congress up in a moment to join us in this conversation. Run this a little bit like a talk show. But I'm interested in as you think about a community that, no matter, as I understand it, you've got about 30% unemployment in your district. Is that about right?
That is correct. In certain parts of my district, it would probably even go up a little bit. In other parts, of course, it's probably even lower. I was fascinated in the district. I mean, I go from what we call the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast. And so, wealthy in my district, down in the Chicago near North Shore, but then the inner city areas that were devastated by the riots that occurred 50 years ago, where Dr. King was assassinated.
So just before